going on? Welcome to Daily Boosted. So this video about a year overdue. I was going to do a video for the pricing, but the car was keep breaking down and I had to fix it and build better and better car. So in this video we're going to go through what's been done to the car and how much it cost. So if you guys haven't seen previous videos, make sure you check them out, give us a like and subscribe and all this good stuff. I respect that. So let's start with the car. So this is a Maloo. This is Gen F 2013, 6.2 litre, and the car was 50 grand Australian. So Australian dollars, because we're in Australia. That's how much I paid for the car. So I drove this car back to the place where I'm at. That was about 2-day drive. I'm still very shocked that I still have my license, but we're not going to talk about that because that was a quick ride. So the first thing I've done after the big drive was the service and the tune. So the workshop put down the tune. I think the whole entire thing was about 1,200 bucks. Pretty happy with that. The original number that the car pulled was 280 kilowatts, but it wasn't stock. It's already had walk-in show pack on it. That's why I have the W375 plate at the front and the rear under the bonnet. It was good exhaust. Pretty happy with that. They do have really good ceramic coating extractors. Couldn't fault it. So pretty good product for the walk-in show. So once you have your solid upgrade for your exhaust and your OTR, which is the filter which goes over the top of radiator, the next step is obviously the cam. So when you do the cam, there's a couple of little things which comes into play as well. If you put really big cam and you have automatic car like I do, you do need to look at the stall converters as well, because it's going to be very difficult to drive and it's going to be bunny hopping everywhere. Another thing you want to consider is lifters. The car had about, I think it was around just under 50,000 kilometers on it, maybe a little bit more. But I also did the lifters. So I'm pretty sure I did the lifters, however it's not on the receipt, so I hope they did it. So we'll see how we go. I think it's done, hopefully, because so far the car didn't have any, knocking sounds, and the engine been rebuilt as well. So I'm pretty sure it's all the good stuff in there. Alright, so how much do you pay for your cam kit, your lifters, and your stall converter? Plus I think there was a little things like the actual rods had to be changed because of the lifters and the cam. Obviously it's got different offset to the original ones, so it's been changed, and the spring's been changed to the double springs as well. So what it is, it's a normal spring with a smaller spring inside to create better compression on the spring. So that was magical number $7,000. 7,000, yeah. Total of $7,035. So that was the first big upgrade. The power it made was around 340 kilowatts at the wheels. It was really good. It was really linear. I had no problems whatsoever. Really enjoyed the car. Sound really good, and it was pretty lumpy, shaky, all the good stuff. So that's the first upgrade done. What do we do after that? So there was a bunch of services in between. It was about a year before I did the cam kit, so that's all gone. After I drove another year on my sweet cam, I decided it's time to put some boost into it to make it faster, because why not? And obviously there was a dilemma between supercharged and the turbo. I just did the video for the differences between them, or on the minimal scale for the numpties like us, and I went for the turbo mainly because most of the people have superchargers, so I wanted to do turbo. So before I tell you the price of the turbo, let's have a look at what turbo is it and what happened there. So this is a kiloboost setup. It's taken about 2 months before the actual kit got shipped here to me. When I ordered the kit through the shop, which did all the work, it actually took a fair bit of time because it was a busy period of the year before the holidays. So the kiloboost had to put the kit together, weld all the parts for the intake and everything like that, customize everything to fit. I think the kiloboost is probably the best fitting kit off the shelf at the moment, and it's really pretty solid power as well from the standard kit. So it comes with the S480 turbo, and then obviously it's got all the bits for it. If you guys want to check out the actual kiloboost kit, at the end of the video there's going to be a link to the video about the kiloboost kit, which I done earlier. It's pretty sick, and make sure you check it out. Okay, so the pricing, the original pricing was supposed to be $15,000 fitted drive away. However, it's changed due to small details. if you can look at the video of my first turbo drive, it's a bit iffy. I'm gonna tell you a story what happened. I rock up to the shop to pick up the car, and the guy at the counter said it's not ready, and they're still tuning it, and it shouldn't be driven and stuff like that. And I was just, you know, a little bit confused what's going on. Then I called the actual shop owner. He said, no, it's good to go. I've been told not to drive it too harsh, just drive the turbo in because it's all brand new. They want to make sure everything fits okay. That's why there was no skids in it. And another reason was there was an extra bill. So the actual 15, I thought it's going to be around 16, maybe 16 and a half. Turned into 19 without me knowing. So I rocked up, got bad news about extra $4,000 I had to pay for the turbo kit. And obviously I thought the car wasn't even ready, and it's going to blow up on me or something like that. I was in touch with Kiloboost as well. I think they quoted about $13,000 to fit the actual kit to the car, so which is not too bad. The actual kit costs about $10,000 or something like that, so it's not too bad. Let's have a look at the receipt, and I'll go through all the extras. So the big numbers are the head studs. Another big number was injectors. So it's 1,000cc injectors. They're pretty pricey. Because this turbo kit fitted legally, it's got the blue plate for it and everything. The actual wastegate had to be plugged in into the dump pipe, which just requires a little bit of welding the pipes together and customizing the exhaust at the bottom. That's cost a little bit of money. I think it was about $1,000 to get the welding person to come in and get it done, but that's not too bad. Another big thing they did was a trans cooler. That was to try and save the transmission, which actually let go anyway. So, but I think it's made it last longer than it should have. So there's lines wrapping around the different wires and everything like that. Obviously titanium turbo blanket, which you can see airflow like a little hoodie over the turbo. There's a massive amount of all the different fittings you gotta use as well. And then there's a fair bit of labor. The labor was $4,000, but I got like almost $2,500 discount on that, so that's not too bad. Overall, very pricey. It was a bit of a surprise with the pricing, but I think down the line it turned out not too bad. From talking to other guys, when they start doing little 12-grand superchargers or turbos, usually you get massive bill in the end because all the extras you have to do, which is not part of the real kit. And then if you want your car last, you probably should do them anyway. So the best advice I can give you, talk to your mechanic and try to get as much information as possible. And if you guys want to check out my first drive video, I know it's not the greatest, I'll probably do another one, but you can check it out in the link at the end of the video as well. Alright, so we're now going to go to the juicy part. So when the car was done, it was still on the walking shore exhaust, and exhaust was not ideal. So what I decided to do is actually change the exhaust. Exhaust is custom made all the way through with the Reaper Engineering mufflers at the back. There's going to be another video about that as well at the end of the video if you guys want to check out the exhaust. But basically the exhaust was about, I think about $4,000, maybe a little bit more dollars. So that's not too bad. But it is really good exhaust and I really like it. Man, today have to be like the busiest day to make this video because there's so much traffic going around. I have to stop all the time, and there's a guy making something. Like I think he's on the grinder just destroying his house whatsoever. But that's all right, we'll continue on. So once exhaust was done, the wire connection at the rear, which goes into the mufflers, was a bit thin, but the shop who did all the welding and custom stuff fixed it for free. There was no issues. I just took it back. Then the exhaust didn't fit all the way through, it was rubbing a little bit, so they also fixed that. So there was 3 trips to the shop, but it's all fixed. And when these guys fixed it, I mean, I couldn't complain. Like, they took the car back, they fixed it, not happy, take it back, they fixed it, so it's all good to go. So the next thing on the list was semi-slicks. It was Mickey Thompson. Those tires set me back about $1,200 fitted. They're still in my closet because I don't have them on. They fit on these rims, no problem. There's videos from the car cruisers where I actually had them on, and you can check them out and rate the tires if you want to. They're really grippy, really big fan. They're just expensive. So because of the semi-slicks, the car couldn't spend too much time on the dyno. They were getting really hot and they were shredding themselves. So the guys were doing the dyno run, stopping, letting everything cool down, and then doing another dyno run. So when the whole entire thing was tuned, it wasn't tuned completely. What the guys at the shop said, if I put normal tires on, I can bring the car back in and they'll do another couple of dyno runs to tune everything in, and that's what I did. So that's where the bad news happened. I think the car either got too hot or whatever happened to it. It's lifted the head and 2 piston rings collapsed. So piston rings don't really designed to have a lot of boost on them and have pressure, so the gap in the piston rings are actually not set to the boosted cars. That's why it's one of the weaker points in the car, and obviously that's what happened. The pistons got too hot, they seized up and pushed up through the cylinder, so that had to be fixed. So I got really lucky. The shop covered it, pretty much most of it. I think overall there was about, I don't know, about maybe 12 if not more $1,000 off for the insurance, and the only thing I had to pay is $6,000. So all it covered is obviously your rods, your forged pistons, and a couple of other accessories like big oil pump and so on and so on. And obviously the way they did it, it was whole entire bill, including all the parts, all the freight, you know, stuff like your torque plate, horn block to actually level your block when it's get machined and everything like that. And then pretty much took a massive discount from the payout and made the labor really cheap. So I can't complain. I got whole entire engine pretty much forged except the crank, because crank can get up to like 1,000 horsepower in it anyway, and you rarely hear about crank snapping or anything like that. So it's pretty solid. Piston rod's done, all the stuff on the inside pretty much done, timing chain, you know, all the little things, everything been upgraded, solid valves, everything you can think of, it's been done. So pretty happy with that. So I'll just give you a quick idea. If you're going to do something like that with the forged engine, if you go to the shop and just say I want forged, it's probably going to cost you $15,000, $16,000, $17,000, $18,000, who knows. And then obviously there was a lot of upgrades done already in the turbo stage, plus the next stage with the internals. So outside been done, inside been done, pretty happy with that. The engine probably can push 500 kilowatts at the wheels all day. A bit struggling on timing, and you know, it just didn't work out. I wasn't really happy with the tune once they finished. I mean, they done a great job by like fixing the car and paying all this money from insurance and, you know, doing everything right by me, but the car just didn't drive right, and I think they just put too much timing or something like that. The car wasn't really happy, so I decided to go to a different shop just to get the car checked out and maybe do another tune. You know, it's a lot better after you spend a lot of money on the car to just, you know, try a different shop if you're not happy or if there's an issue. And you know, I think one thing which kind of was annoying after the tune, the car was still stalling when you creep in the drive-thrus, you know, when you get that sweet markers or takeaway. And yeah, it was pretty annoying because you had to stop, start through the drive-thrus, and you know, it was a bit annoying. It didn't get fixed, so you know, it is what it is. But still, big thank you for doing all the work. And you know, I took it to next shop. You know, it didn't find any issues. The only thing they found was the floaty valves. So I think cam didn't suit pretty well for the car, and it just lifted the valves, and because of the floaty valves it couldn't make the power, but that's what they said. So I had to do another more job done at the workshop. The next shop charged $7,000. I'll go through the list of what they've done and stuff like that. They're more pristine shop, they charge for a bit, but their quality of work is also really good. You can't, you know, you can't fault it. And then I just have to tell you as well, after the actual work was done, I've been to the shop 3 times for free. So they did little tune up after the first tune just to make everything good to go. They fixed the pipe, so one of the fittings came loose, and they put it on the hoist, you know, took everything off. There's heaps of plastic on the bottom of the car, it's really hard to get to. I didn't particularly want to unscrew the whole entire bumper just to get to the fitting to put the hose back on. So the shop, free of charge, got the car to them. They lift it up on the hoist, get everything done. Happy days, no charge whatsoever. And the third time, it was about 1,000 k's later, I think, or a little bit more, when I took the car in just to do a final check, make sure everything's good to go, everything's solid. I paid about $200 to move the heater hoses from top of the engine to the out away from it, just so it looks nicer. That was about $200. So also everything else was pretty much free when they look over the car, checked everything. Really happy with that. And here we go. Let's go through the list. So the first thing they did, they put 2 extra O2 sensors. I think it's down at the exhaust. Just before the cap. So they removed the actual turbo kit. They re-wrapped the manifolds because they were not unwrapped. The only wrapping I had was the dump from the turbo. So they wrapped everything there, and there was also had a leaky gasket near the turbo, I think, so they swapped that as well. The next thing on the list was spark plugs. They've been replaced as well, and the leads as well. So the leads actually have a special thermal wrapping around them as well. It's like a sleeve, so that's on it as well. They also played around with the exhaust to get a better fit as well, which is not too bad. To be honest, the rear still had to be chopped because it does get a little bit warm and the plastic started to melt, so there's not much space at the rear, but it's still hidden, and the tips look shiny and I don't have to wash them, you know, they don't get covered in crap from exhaust, and sounds beautiful. They also did basic, you know, oil change. They used the royal purple oil, which is like, you know, drugs in the oil industry. There's like the purest oil you can get. And then obviously the oil filter, why not? Once you're changing oil, you gotta change the lot. So transmission already had a little bit of struggle. It had burnt oil in it, so they changed all the transmission oil twice to flush it and just to try and get it to the best condition as possible. So now we know we have no 4th, 5th, 6th gear, so it didn't last that long. It's still got a couple of thousand kilometers out of it from fun riding, which you probably haven't seen. But yeah, transmission gonna be rebuilt next year. Pretty stoked about that. So the cam obviously been swapped to the custom grind boosted cam. And obviously the spring's been changed because springs didn't have enough pressure for enough boost. I think it's running about 10 psi at the moment, and then 450 kilowatts, which is not too bad. 600 horsepower sounds a lot better. That's what I put in the videos. So it is 450 kilowatts at the wheels. Custom tune and just little bits and pieces around the place. But like I said, pretty small price to pay to get awesomely driven car, which is not at the moment, but will be next year. And obviously, when it comes to the engine is pretty solid and good to go. So this is it. This is the end of our video. I'm not going to go through whole entire pricing and total it up. I'll probably get upset about it because how much money I dropped into this. The next stage for this is going to be fixing the transmission. If you watched the whole entire video, you probably know which shop it's going to go to get the transmission fixed. I have to move, so that's the next shop, next journey, new adventure. Alright guys, massive thank you for watching my videos, giving us a likes and subscribing, and you know, we've got a whole entire year in front of us. Let's have some fun with it.